Hello, I'm Dow Bartling, and welcome to another episode of Dow's Weekly Digest. The older I am, the more that I think. I've been thinking a lot about traditions lately. Maybe it's because the older I get, the more I think. The more I realize that half of the things that I do because somebody before me thought it was a good idea. And most of the time, they're right. Traditions are funny things. They're sort of like old shoes. Do you have some old shoes? They're comfortable, familiar, maybe a little worn out in certain places, but you just can't bring yourself to throw them away. I have a pair of hiking boots, and they're branded in the heel. I wore them with my son Justin when he and I hiked Mount Phillips in New Mexico at an elevation of 11,711 feet. We did this in '94. Traditions, they remind you of where you've been. And every now and then, you still want to be on who you want to be. But then you stop and think about it. When you do that, traditions are really the glue, aren't they? That holds generations together. There's an African proverb I love. Let me paraphrase a little bit here for you. It says this: when an elder dies, it's like a library burning down. Now that will make you sit up a little straighter. Because it's true. Our elders carry stories, wisdom, recipes, mistakes, and miracles. Growing up, our family had traditions that made no sense to anybody else probably, but they made perfectly sense. They made perfectly good sense to us. We opened our Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve. Don't ask me why. That's just the way it was. We had Christmas ham every year. That glaze with pineapple rings and the red cherries and in the cloves. Even though nobody could quite agree on who started that tradition. Nobody voted on it. It wasn't a committee decision. It just became the tradition. And you know what? We loved it. Then there were the traditions that came in later. Without fail, we would get a special birthday cake this time of year. That cake said, "Happy Birthday, Jesus," written in frosting. Does it make the cake taste better? I think it does. For several years now, we have made a strawberry birthday cake for someone. Same cake year after year. Strawberry. Or like vacationing on Jersey Shore with our grandson and his family, watching Henry grow up with the sand between his toes. Same beach, same ocean. Well, that's a tradition worth keeping. Or going to Advent services, where the world finally kind of slows down for an hour and reminds us of what season we're actually in. The funny thing about traditions aren't really about the thing. They're about people. You can replace the ham with turkey. You can make the birthday cake chocolate instead of strawberry. You can open presents in the morning instead of night before. Trust me, the kids will survive. But the gathering, the remembering, the connection, that's what makes it a tradition. Now, I've been in the insurance industry, as you I've said before, over 50 years. And if you hang around that long, you learn something about habits. Habits are things you do because you've done them hundreds of times before. It's like checking your phone in the morning or putting your keys in that special spot. Oh, and when they're not there, panic. Habits make life easier. But traditions, those make life richer. And here's where we get our first lesson. Lesson number 1. A tradition only has value if you remember why you do it. Now, this kind of reminds me of the song by Hank Williams Jr. years ago, Bocephus. In the song, there's a verse, and it asks him, Hank, why do you do what you do? His answer, really the name of the song, it's a family tradition. If you're just going through the motions, it's a habit wearing a costume. Every once in a while, stop and ask yourself, why do we do this? If you could answer that question with meaning, connection, faith, family, then keep the tradition going. If not, maybe it's time to update the costume. Life lesson number 2. Listen to your elders while the library is still open. Ask them questions. You may think that you'll remember the answers, but you won't. Record the stories. Write down the recipes. Learn the traditions before you try to pass them on. Learn why we do this. One day, you will be an elder. One day, you will be the library. So my encouragement for you this week is simple. Honor the traditions that matter. Let go of the ones that don't. And for heaven's sakes, write the good ones down before the library closes for the night. The best traditions are the ones that can bend without breaking. They're strong enough to give you roots, but flexible enough to let you grow. And if your tradition happens to include a strawberry cake, a Christmas ham, a trip to the Jersey Shore, or a birthday message for Jesus, well, I think you're doing pretty well. Blessed are they who ease the pain of misfortune, for they shall be called insurance agents. So you go out there and have a Festivus for the rest of us, and take care.